Hello, everybody. I guess we're going to start our panel discussion. My name is Rosa Maria Carranza, and I am the MC for this panel discussion. The roots of the causes of the forced migration. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the history of what triggered the Civil War in El Salvador and the resultant forced migration. I will also talk about Bishop Oscar Arnulfo Romero. Today is the 45th anniversary of his assassination. Our Bishop Romero, Oscar Arnulfo Romero, was born on August 15, 1917, in Ciudad Barrios, in el departamento de San Miguel, or San Miguel City, El Salvador. His family wasn't poor, but didn't have enough money to pay for his higher education. Somehow he was able to travel to Rome to study theology, where he became a priest at the age of 25 in 1942. Returning to El Salvador, Monsignor Romero became an auxiliary bishop in San Salvador. Later, in 1974, as a bishop in Santiago de Maria, Departamento de Usulután, he witnessed the atrocities committed for the Salvadorian army against the workers and the poor. At that time, Archbishop Romero was in contact with the Salvadorian oligarchy, trying to stop the killing machine through a dialogue that didn't work. But in 1977, after the assassination of his close friends, Father Rutilio Grande, a Jesuit priest who advocated for the poor, Archbishop Romero stood up to defend the people. This action infuriated the right-wing rulers, Alianza Republicana Nacionalista, well known as ARENA. So in March 24, 1980, the founder of ARENA, Roberto Davison, who was the director of the National Guard as well, ordered the assassination of Archbishop Romero, one of the events that led to 12 years of US-funded dictatorship and civil war. We know the civil wars are one of the main reasons for displacement and forced migration. The legacy of that civil war and the neoliberal policies imposed by the United States, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank created the economic conditions exacerbated by the natural disaster from which the country had not been able to recover. Tonight, you will hear from the speakers about the root causes of migration in their countries and the legacy of the US military intervention and economic interventions. Before I present the first panelist, I'm going to cite a quote from Rosa Parks that said, "I believe we are on the planet Earth to live, grow up, and do what we can to make this world a better place for all people to enjoy freedom." So now let me introduce the first panelist. He is one of our champions defending the immigrant community. He was the executive director of the Central America Resource Center, CARECEN. Now he is the owner of the Centro Latino Cuscatlán, serving our community. Please welcome Ramón Cardona.
Gracias, Rosa. Buenas tardes, buenas noches a todas y todos. Greetings, everyone. And today is a special day for many of us Salvadorans, and now for many people who believe in Saint Romero, because it is on this day in 1980 that it was gone down, as he was saying mass at La Divina Providencia church. Supposedly it was Capitan Sarabia who hired a francotirador sharpshooter who shot him right in the heart as he was saying mass at at church, Divina Providencia, where many people with terminal cancer go and practically have their last days there. He was now he's sainthood. He's known as San Oscar Arnulfo Romero. So thank you for organizing this meeting today to honor Monsignor Romero and speak about one of the hottest topics going on, not only in the United States, but also in all continents of the U.S., but especially how Latin America and the Caribbean countries are being affected by this administration's horrendous, cruel, anti-immigration policies. As immigrants, and there are many studies that showed how much we provide for the economic strength of this country. Not only in that field we help out as a social demographic group, but also in science, in sports, culture, music, in many other fields as well. As immigrants, we contribute very, very much to strengthen this country. And not only the generation that came in the last 10, 20, 30 years, but way from the first in the origins of this country, immigrants, have provided the backbone, the hard labor to build what it is now a superpower.
Muy buenas noches o buenas tardes a todos. Gracias a los organizadores por darnos la oportunidad de estar en acá. Este día tan especial, muy especial también para la comunidad religiosa, especialmente los católicos. Hoy se celebra el Día de San Romero. Y ya me imagino lo que estaría diciendo Romero en sus homilías al ver su país, como lo están diciendo los grandes encabezados de las informaciones que salen a nivel latinoamericano o a nivel mundial, que el pulgarcito de América convertido en el Guantánamo 2.0 o el campo de concentración más grande ahorita, de más de 21,000 kilómetros cuadrados. Entonces, por la situación de que se está dando, de que gente sin el debido proceso de origen venezolano pues ha sido detenido y enviado inmediatamente a un lugar donde prácticamente es la pena de muerte, nada más que no está escrito, pero una cárcel ya me imagino lo que dicen, de cuartos de puro concreto y metal y ahí van a terminar si no hay una lucha frontal de parte de las organizaciones para poder liberar a estos hermanos. Entonces, una de las grandes causas de la migración es los mismos sistemas, la globalización, y ahí pues siguen lo mismo lo que mencionaba, lo que ya se mencionó, ¿verdad? La violencia, las crisis sociales, y entonces, por ejemplo, en mi país, de donde soy originario, creo que, si todos no lo han escuchado, pues el expresidente que estuvo gobernando se religió también ilegalmente, está preso aquí en Estados Unidos, y eso, pues, de eso no se hablaba en los medios, de la violencia que se generó al ser un narcoestado y que expulsó la cantidad de hondureños que en este momento están más que todo acá en Estados Unidos y en España. Honduras tiene una población de 9 millones, entonces casi los 2 millones están afuera de Honduras. Y la otra gran causa, pues obviamente ya, o sea, también el ser humano siempre busca estar junto a sus seres queridos, y también influye mucho la reunificación familiar. Pero ahorita, pues, ahorita vemos la embestida de las derechas, y especialmente de la derecha de Estados Unidos, porque esto también aquí se está dando más violentamente, pero lo que se está haciendo acá también se está haciendo en Europa. También lo están sufriendo los inmigrantes africanos. También vemos la cantidad de inmigrantes africanos que mueren tratando de llegar a Europa, en el Mediterráneo. Entonces son miles y miles también que mueren ahí. Pero también las derechas europeas están con la misma narrativa que está acá en la derecha norteamericana, que ha tomado el poder y ha puesto, y para mantenerse su narrativa, todo va enfocado a que los inmigrantes somos los culpables de tantos problemas que se dan acá en Estados Unidos. Entonces, en otras palabras, nosotros estamos siendo utilizados como chivos expiatorios de los proyectos de estos que han llegado al poder. Y eso lo podemos ver, y cómo ellos, o sea, ahí ya hablamos de los conflictos de los 80, ya escuchamos, y en ese tiempo, pues, o sea, se hablaba de la Guerra Fría, de la cortina de hierro en Europa. Pero ahora esa cortina de hierro la tenemos aquí en la frontera con México, Estados Unidos, porque ha logrado movilizar el ejército con blindados, ¿para qué? Para pelear con una madre de familia que viene con sus niños, tratando de buscar una vida mejor. Y ustedes, no sé si los habremos puesto a pensar. Tengo entendido que hay una franja entre los dos países, y allí es donde los militares están. Entonces, solo es de imaginarse de un migrante tratar de pasar, porque eso es algo ya como una base, y un inmigrante que trate de pasar está tratando de entrar a una base militar. Entonces, solo de pensar hasta dónde ha llegado o sea, esta oleada en contra de nosotros los inmigrantes. Y pues, como decía, los inmigrantes, pues, siempre, según los datos de la OIM, la Organización Internacional de las Migraciones, un 3,6% de la población mundial son migrantes. Eso quiere decir que son alrededor de unos 290,000 o 200 millones que están fuera de sus fronteras prácticas. Y si no, nosotros mismos los que estamos aquí, veámoslos, a ver veamos yo, Cristina, Charles, Ramón, veámoslos todos, y todos los que están, veámoslos todos seguramente no somos de aquí, o sea, o nuestros antepasados no somos de aquí. Entonces incluso los mismos que los están atacando en este momento, como estaba explicando Ramón, también son de origen de otro lugar. Entonces, esto pues es algo pues que como que está coordinado, así como está también coordinado el dominio de los recursos de los países de nosotros salimos. Porque, como lo decía anteriormente, el hecho de que nosotros y que hayan salido pues es debido a la presencia o al desequilibrio que hay de los recursos. Por ejemplo, en Honduras, allí también, igual que El Salvador, se hablaba, los dueños los dueños de Honduras son 12 familias. Y eso pues ha generado que han quitado los recursos o sea, de una u otra manera se han adueñado de lo mejor de Honduras.
Christy Noem Biden's administration extended TPS for a year and a half, and Christy Noem reduced that to 1 year. So 500,000 Haitian TPS holders can start being deported in August 3rd. And so there's suits, and lots of organizations are working to stop this. We need to work together to connect our movements, build a mass movement against this horror that is happening, and help people in this country understand why so much migration has happened. And like Ramon said, that most migrants are not criminals. They're just trying to support their families and make a better life for themselves. So the demand at this point is, in the last year, more than 6,000 people have been murdered by these paramilitary death squads. More than 1 million people have been displaced, and tens of thousands of them just in the last month. News reports are saying now that these paramilitary gangs control 85% of Port-au-Prince, the capital, and there's no freedom of movement. They control the ports. They control every road in and out of the country, out of the city. So if you want to leave the city, you have to pay a bribe. If you want to get food into the city, you have to pay a bribe. So it's creating mass starvation. So it's a pretty grim situation, and Haiti Action Committee asks for the support of everyone to put an end to this migration horror that is taking place in front of us. Thank you very much.
So, here we are, again with the same administration that spoke and was so open to speak and said a lot of horrible things about the immigrant community. But that happens because we let it happen. Because we ended up being mute for so many years. Every campaign, every election, or every time somebody's running for office, they promise something to the immigrant community, either Republican and Democrats. And let them take advantage of that. Now we're living in a situation that I said is better because our eyes are wide open to see where we're gonna end and how we're gonna organize and how we're gonna fight. Fighting can become part of your community, knowing your rights, sharing your story, not being afraid to speak up, because we're not criminals. We're not all criminals. But we're labeled like that because we let people who were elected to say that. But those who elected them, we have a commitment with them to become partners so this doesn't happen again. Through the process of being on TPS and on this journey and on this fight, I also learned that those that hate us, they hate us because they don't know who we are. They only hear what their politicians are speaking to them. They don't get it that we pay taxes. They don't get it that you can't retire if you don't have documents, that you can't get those benefits. They don't get that. They don't get that we're homeowners or own business, or or we are like doctors, teachers, housekeepers. They don't know that. And we blend so well. There's over 11 millions of us, but we have become mute. So the process for me is different. It's a big commitment to speak up and share our stories. What is happening in El Salvador, what is happening in Central America, what is happening here, is gonna continue to happen because we haven't learned from the past. There can be another Monsignor Romero sacrificing his life. But guess what? We're gonna end up the same because we're not learning from the past. And there will be others taking advantage of the system. I'm not a politician. I said myself, but look at me. I speak like one sometimes. But that has to do with we all are politicians somehow. But we let others decide for us. I think, well, first of all, what we need to do, like Charlie said, we need to reunite. We need to figure it out how we're gonna help each other and move on.
So, yeah, that is correct. We had to go and lobby. We have been doing lobbying since 2018, trying to get Congress people and the Senate to get involved for all immigrants to get a permanent residency in the United States. We are collecting donations to help the people who are going to Washington, D.C. And checks can be made out of to the Alliance for the Social and Economic Justice.
Every country is different dates, and it has to do with the year that it was granted. Thank you, Charlie, for mentioning. So basically, TPS is granted to countries that either deal with violence, like a civil war, like it happened to El Salvador. The first TPS they got has to do with natural disasters. The situation in Haiti is a perfect example. That it means it's not safe for their refugees or immigrants that are here to be returned back to a country that is not safe to be. And so that's why it's different dates. Under the Ramos case, the reason why there was 4 is because Trump took away TPS for those 4 at the beginning in 2018, which El Salvador, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Sudan. And a few months later, he did it for Honduras and Nepal. So that's why it's different dates. And Ukraine has TPS. Venezuela has TPS because of the situation. And so for an administration to end TPS, the country has to meet the standards. So that's why it's different. Like, we don't know what's gonna happen to Honduras yet. We already know about Haiti, and we're waiting on Honduras, Nepal.
To add a little bit more of that, there were 16 countries with TPS. At this point, we have just El Salvador, Ukraine, and Sudan. So 13 countries are out. And one of the countries who need the most the TPS is Haiti. The violence in Haiti is outstanding. So we need to try to bring back those countries with TPS back into the TPS.
Who knows how many people have what's called el número de ITIN, the ITIN number to do their taxes? Millions. It started in 1994. so that people with no immigration legal status could obtain that number to be identified and do their income tax returns. Today it was announced that the IRS is gonna share that information with ICE. And we're talking about, I don't know how many actually there are, but a few years back, I remember there were almost 9 million individuals doing their taxes with the IT number, individual tax ID number. So it's in the millions. And now they've gotten IRS. The person who was there before decided to resign because it goes against everything in terms of legalities, in terms of keeping individual taxes and financial information totally private, secret. But this administration does not care. And if it's a matter of going after people and making it easier to catch them and deport them, then let's use those that information from the IRS.
The legal procedure, that's why it requires to do and ask questions. The Ramos case is still open. It hasn't been closed yet. There is another step that it needs to be done, and we're still waiting to hear about it, but the case is still open. And for the TPS community, it's really important to pay attention. This is just the beginning, like I said. So right now, what we need to do is organize, meet with Congress people, get their commitments, and not play this game. Republicans don't want to work with us. The Democrats, Republicans, Democrats don't know what they want. They don't bring us a bill that they want to work on. So I think this is the moment to empower us for the next step.